Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Car Stories. In this one, we're here with Allan with his Lexus RCF. We're bringing back the JDM into these car stories. This color is very unique. You don't see a lot of them in town, so I figured we'd feature him on this episode. So let's dive in, learn about his story and his car. Hey Allan, thank you for being on this episode of Car Stories. Tell us a little bit about your Lexus RCF.
Yeah, this is my third Lexus actually, if you haven't known. So actually my car journey, if you want to call it that, my first car was a Honda Civic. And then after the Honda Civic, I had the Lexus IS 350. And that was my first jump into the Lexus brand. There's something about the Lexus brand that was very captivating, very appealing. I really like the look of them. So I actually leased my first Lexus, and might have been a financial mistake, but I don't regret it one bit because I got to meet a lot of people through the car community and through the Lexus brand itself.
We all start there.
Exactly.
I mean, we all make that irrational decision.
Yes. And at that time, I was living with my parents, so I didn't have to worry too much about I didn't have any other responsibilities. I was young. Had it for about 3 years, and I got bored of it, and I saw the RC 350 in the showroom, pre-owned, and someone just traded it in at that time, and I just loved the look of the coupe. The only thing is, going from the IS 350 I had to the RC 350, it's the same engine. It's the V6, naturally aspirated V6. Same engine as the Camry.
Yeah.
So it's nothing too crazy, but it is what they're known for, right? The reliability. So it's a reliable V6. I had that, I had the RC 350. I modified it quite a bit. It was full bolt-on. I put headers on it, full exhaust, tuned it, but it still wasn't enough. And we all have those purchases where, I could have gotten more, and that was one of them. And that's what made me jump into the RCF. The RCF, I love the coupe, so I decided to stay with the coupes. And I wanted to add 2 extra cylinders. That's where this comes in. It's the V8, a naturally aspirated V8.
Sounds amazing.
I love it, honestly. It's, again, reliable V8. And you don't see many naturally aspirated V8s anymore.
No, it's a dying breed, right?
Yes. And that's one of the big reasons why I decided to purchase this car. And aside from the fact it looks amazing, right? In my opinion.
So I think Lexus killed it with the design of this car, right? When the RCF.
Yes, and you'd be surprised as to how many people think it's a new car, but if you don't know, it's 2015.
Wow,
it's
that's amazing.
It's 10 years old, and it aged so well. And I couldn't be happier with this purchase.
So when they announced this, I was so happy with the fact that they were still doing a V8. Part of me inside wanted to see a manual along with this as well.
Yeah, I think they stopped making the manuals in the IS, the 2IS, the second generation IS in 2013, 2014?
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly.
None of the F cars were a manual.
No. But honestly, the dual clutch transmission, it just makes the shifting so much quicker anyways. I don't find I'm missing out one bit on the whole manual thing.
The lack of manual was probably the only thing that kind of deterred me from this car. But the way it sounds, the way it delivers, it's a heavy car.
It is. I won't deny that. And a heavy driver. It doesn't help at all. But I think when the ISF first came out with that line, it competed with the E90 M3s, I'm pretty sure, and other German counterparts. But the thing is, with the RCS and the more recent models of the V8, the F line, the flagship for Lexus, I find that they've fallen behind in terms of performance, which is why it's becoming less and less common to find these cars. The demand is not there for these cars.
What's this, like 450 horsepower?
467, I think, on paper. But for me, it's plenty. There's really no need for me to go crazy fast on these streets. I don't really track my cars. Might be a future. It might be a future thing, but we'll see. We'll see when we get there. But yeah, so it's just I find that more and more people are moving away from the Lexus and into the German performance cars, BMWs. Like those things have so much more potential. In terms of power, and it's just the aftermarket support on those vehicles
are bigger.
There's so much more there. In this car, there's really not much.
But you'd figure, being a JDM, the Japanese car culture, that's where it all sparked, right? And it's moved into the European or the North American market. So you'd figure there'd be a massive parts offering, aftermarket
so the
companies.
aftermarket support for the RC isn't really there. For the IS, like the sedan version of this, there's more aftermarket support. And I guess that's because it's more popular with the 4 doors. 2 doors not very practical, as some may argue. But
You've got lots of space in the back.
I have a lot of space, and you'd be surprised as to how much trunk space I have. I do Costco runs with it.
Yeah.
I put golf clubs in there. I can fit a lot in there.
So when I saw this car for the first time, I was cross-shopping it with, I think, the M4, the RS5, the Audi RS5.
And then the C63.
The C63.
Yeah, so I was actually cross-shopping between all those as well when I was shopping for cars. And then at the end of the day, sure, like you can get more power out of the German cars, but I cared more about reliability. I'm not, again, that mechanically inclined to fix everything on my car and all that. So that's why I wanted to get something reliable, which is what Lexus is known for.
Yeah.
That's why I went with this. And it's just, I have no regrets whatsoever.
So how long have you had it for now?
This is the longest I've actually kept the car. I've had it for 4 years now, a little over 4 years.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You've got the itch to move on to something else, right?
I do have the occasional itch to move on. Like, for example, I've considered the LC500.
Oh.
So it's slightly bigger
It's a
vehicle than
GT
this
Cruiser,
one.
that one.
It is.
I mean, this is a GT Cruiser too, but
Essentially, yeah. But this is more sporty, if you want to call it that. It's the same engine. It's just the LC is a 10-speed versus an 8-speed. This is an 8-speed. And the LC has so much presence on the road. You don't see too many of them around. And I can say the same about this, honestly. But it's just, I guess, after 4 years, as a car enthusiast, we're always looking for the next car. And
yeah.
So,
I mean, speaking of which, you haven't left this car stock.
no.
You've done a few things to it.
Mostly cosmetic, honestly. There's really not much to do to this car in terms of performance. I can get a supercharger kit, headers.
Then you kill that reliability aspect of it.
Supercharger, yes, that will kill the reliability of it. But even then, I think the kit is pretty reliable. But maybe the next thing I'll do is headers, because it doesn't really affect much. It just gives you a lot more power. It doesn't affect the reliability much. I think that'll be a little bit more fun for me if I
Do
add
headers.
Yeah.
What else have you done on the car though? It looks lowered.
Yes, so I
an aero kit.
have Swift lowering springs on it and some HRE FlowForms on there. I think suspension and wheels makes the car.
100%.
Right? It's one of the first things I did, but all the extra like aero bits and the lip kit I did as well, just extra. It's a generic brand off of eBay.
Nice.
Yeah, like they make great stuff on eBay, or they sell great stuff on eBay. It's all carbon.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
I think it looks great.
Finishes the car off very nicely.
Yes.
The rear wing too. Is
Yes.
that an active rear wing?
It is. It is an active rear spoiler. It does activate, I believe, above 60 kilometers an hour. I can't remember 100%.
Okay.
But I leave it up. I leave it in the up position because I just like the look of it more. And I have some spacers on there, so it sits a bit higher than OEM. And it is an aftermarket spoiler as well.
Okay.
Even though the OEM spoiler is also carbon, I decided to get an aftermarket one to give it an extra lip.
Oh, yeah, it definitely looks aggressive as it's rolling in. Exhaust-wise, you've done a few things in
I
there
have
too?
a full catback, Borla catback exhaust.
That's why it sounds the way it does.
Yes, and it's funny when people always make fun of me, or my friends always poke fun at me. It's it's for American cars and muscle cars, the Borla brand. But I think they nailed it with the sound on this exhaust.
With the V8 and that exhaust combo, it's
addicting. Every time I start it, I just love hearing it start. The cold starts, downshifting. I'm just hearing it. It's amazing.
It's a sad thing because a lot of new cars don't sound and look like this anymore.
Considering the fact that most manufacturers going towards the EV or hybrid solution.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call it a solution, but that's what they're rolling towards. That's exactly why I'm deciding to keep this car.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep this car.
Keep it as long as you can.
Keep it as long as I can. I don't know, maybe in my next car I'll just buy it and keep this on the side too.
Put a lift in the garage and you could stack them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a possibility for sure. Again, I don't know if I'd want to branch out into the German brands. It's really tempting.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends and they're all moving over to the German brands, even RCF owners. Honestly, I know a lot of them over the internet, social media, where they've actually moved over to like G80s, like the M3s, and it's just because these sound great. They make okay power, 467 horse, but something with the German
It's refined.
Euro vehicles, there's so much potential. Like you can make so much more power, and I think that's what stops people from keeping these cars is just because they're slow, quote unquote slow.
That's true because 470 some horsepower
in today's
No, even just comparing the Japanese 470 horsepower and the German 470 horsepower, they perform very different in many ways. Like in the way the power delivery, how refined, and sometimes it's too clinical.
Yeah.
In many ways. And I don't know, part of me feels like the Japanese, you're still involved in the driving a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not all about the straight line speeds. There's the steering engagement. Yes, there's power. It's for the audible sensations, the sounds.
Yeah, I just feel like there's too much technology as well in the newer vehicles. I don't know. I feel like this is more authentic, more of an authentic feel to it, which is why I'm also very attached to the Lexus brand itself. And again, people always comment on how Lexus is very behind on technology and all that. Like they only updated the infotainment system recently.
Yeah, because they still have that little mouse pad in there.
I saw the mouse pad. I still have the little knob to change to Sport Plus, Sport mode. It's crazy. It's funny, and I do agree to an extent that yes, it does look dated, but there are a lot of vehicles out there still that do look outdated.
When you get the sounds out of that V8 with the exhaust mods that you've done, it's rear-wheel drive.
Yes.
The steering is, I think, electronic, but it's still very direct and engaging, I would imagine.
Yeah.
All of the other dated infotainment stuff goes away because
I don't care about it. Like the little screen I have on the infotainment screen I have in my car, I can upgrade it anytime I wanted to, but do I use it? No. I literally have my windows down every single time I drive it to listen to the exhaust, the V8.
That's true.
Yeah. Like a lot of people do the old school, like the buttons, they're very, I guess, tactile, you want to call it that, versus some people prefer the all touchscreen. And like Tesla, for example, is all touchscreen. There are really no buttons.
Yeah,
really.
I agree.
So I think there are two different types of clients for vehicles.
Cool. So car's not stock. It's lowered on springs. It's got HRE wheels. You've got an aero kit put on there. It looks amazing. Anything done on the interior?
Interior, I have some carbon bits here and there, carbon steering wheel, carbon trim. Not too much, honestly. I decided to keep it a little more closer to OEM. Nothing too crazy. I don't want to go overboard with carbon fiber.
There is such a thing as carbon overload.
Yes, yeah.
Too much is not very appealing.
And honestly, there are some parts of me where I do feel like I do have too much carbon on my car. I feel like it, personally.
Yeah, really,
Yeah, sometimes.
I think it's the right amount. Yeah. You got hypercars now that's full carbon, exposed
yeah.
carbon fiber. I think it's too much.
That's a whole different territory, though.
Yeah.
You really can't compare a Lexus to a hypercar.
Yeah. But in terms of that trend of exposed carbon fiber showing up in places, the more carbon, the more exotic it is, the more cool it is. I don't know. I like a nice painted car.
Exactly, and that's why I opted out of the carbon hood. There are many carbon hood options for this vehicle, but it's just that I feel like you lose a lot of the lines in the car.
It's true.
If you do get rid of the painted hood and painted parts in general.
So the reason why you've gravitated towards Lexuses is mainly with the reliability and the experience you've had in the past.
Yeah, the only issue that these cars are known to have is just the valley plate leak on the Lexus and Toyota V8s. And honestly, it's not the end of the world. You just notice your coolant levels dropping rapidly towards when it gets really bad. And that's when I noticed when I was topping up the coolant a little too frequently. Okay, I made an appointment with my local dealership.
Got it done.
And I got it done. It was about an 8-hour job.
Wow, that's expensive.
It was not bad, honestly.
Okay.
It was about $2,000 to fix, but it should be good for another.
That's not bad.
Probably 10 years, hopefully.
You've been racking the miles on this car then?
Not so much nowadays, but I have been since I bought the car. I was driving it quite a bit. I was going off-roading with it.
Oh, okay.
I was driving it everywhere. But now I just drive the SUV around more and more.
And this is your summer daily now?
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
And it is quite practical, believe it or not. It's funny enough, my wife hates this car. She hates getting into the car, getting out of the car is just so low. She's so used to the SUV life. And she finds that there's no space in the car, even though I find that there's plenty of space, right? Like for me, at least. It also helps me save money at Costco because I don't have to. I have to really hold back on my spending. I can't fit too much in the car.
How much volume do I have in the car?
I can fit one box in the trunk, so I'll buy one box of groceries.
That's true.
This run. So
if you have an SUV, you're like loading it up.
Oh, it's crazy. It gets crazy when I bring the SUV.
That's hilarious. So I asked this question to everyone in the Car Stories episode. Would you consider this your forever car?
Forever car, I want to say yes, but
we all do, right?
Realistically speaking, probably not, right? There's always the next thing you're looking forward to. And again, there are just so many options out there now, right? Especially on the pre-owned market when the depreciation already hit the car. It makes it very appealing to trade the car in to get another one. But I don't know. I can't decide on what I want to move on to next.
Yeah.
If I move on to something that, like,
well, when you have
after.
something that hits all the check boxes you care about,
Yeah.
it's really hard to go find something
Yeah.
else. 'Cause
Exactly.
with the fear of potentially not delivering on all of it, especially having a car for 4 years. You're so used to it and attached to it.
Yes, and that's exactly why I mentioned if I do get another car, I feel like I do want to keep this one
Cool.
in the garage.
Well, that leads me to the next question. What could be next?
Again, those new BMWs they're pretty tempting. They're
G80s?
Yes.
Ah.
The G80s, like the B58s, S68s, like those engines, they've proven to be pretty reliable so far. And there is just so much power potential in those things. And I do feel like the extra power would be nice.
Yeah.
And again, like what happened to my previous car, it's not enough power. So I got this one.
So I have to touch on this. What is it about that power that's so appealing to you?
It's just when you're at a dead stop and you're just stepping on
The
it.
0 to 60?
0 to 60. It's just the feeling, the G-force. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's addicting. That's what it is. As a car guy, you should understand.
You could get it with an EV, no?
But there's no sound. There's no sound. And honestly, I think that is the argument that everyone has, right? It's EVs are, again, I can see the pros and cons with any vehicle, any type of vehicle. But I just find that the EVs, the lack of sound is just not there. You don't feel as engaged. It just feels dead, quiet, no soul.
I agree.
Yeah.
This is one of the things I appreciate about the Japanese automakers. I think it was the Toyota CEO or one of the big brands that came out and said a sports car needs to smell and sound like a sports car. They're understanding what the car enthusiasts are really looking for.
Right.
Not that I have issues with EVs. As a daily, I would rock an EV, no problem.
Yeah.
But for me, someone that's chasing after a weekend special or summer daily, just to cruise around and be part of the active driving, I want that engagement. I want the sound. I want to be involved. I don't want to be disconnected from the whole driving experience.
Yeah, and the F-Line itself is their flagship, and it's what has their V8s and all that. And they actually just announced and released their final edition for the RCF. So I'm really curious as to what Lexus has up their sleeve. There are a lot of rumors with the twin turbo V8 coming in.
See some of the spy shots as well.
Yes. And honestly, I don't know if that might be the next vehicle. Obviously not brand new.
I'm curious to see what the next era of Lexus and Toyota is going to be. They're releasing a lot of accessible sports cars for the enthusiasts now. And Lexus, for me, has always been the premium version of the Toyota lineup.
Exactly.
They give you that luxury with that sporty engagement.
I just feel like the Lexus F-Line, the flagship, I think they're gaining a lot more traction nowadays with the younger crowd especially. Just because people are realizing, oh, it's a 5.0 V8.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cheap on the pre-owned market.
When everyone else is downsizing to V6s.
Exactly.
Imagine when you talked about cross-shopping the C63, no longer a V8. It doesn't sound like that.
It's a four-banger nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't drive one of those, honestly.
Yeah.
They make a lot of power with the four-banger. I just couldn't.
It's a great engineering marvel.
Exactly, but nothing like the V8.
Yeah.
Nothing like the V8.
100% agree. What do you all think? What's your take on Lexus and their brand and their sports cars that they're offering? What do you think of the Lexus RCF? I think it's a beautiful car. I think it's sad that they're stopping it, but I think they're bringing it back with it in a different form. So we'll see. Maybe in the next year or two, we'll finally see what Lexus is cooking. I think the V8's still going to be alive, and it's going to be pretty epic. Love this car. I finally get to learn about your story and how you got to it, and it's pretty amazing. So thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Well, I hope you all enjoy this one. If you did, like, subscribe, do all those things, and we'll see you all in the next one. All right. Thank you.
That's it.